Okay, perfect.
How about this one? Does this one work?
No.
Good. Welcome.
Yes, welcome. Great. Super excited to see such a great group here. I know your time is valuable and grateful you're able to make it out and be part of the LabVIEW community. First time we've done an event like this, not sponsored by NI, so it's cool to see everyone kind of come together and appreciate everyone's time being here. I'm Jared McInelly. I work for Fresh Consulting. I know most of you through my role with National Instruments, where I worked for 17 years before moving to Fresh about a year ago. And
I'm Craig Bedward with S5 Solutions, and I've been there for a few years.
All right. Dive right in.
Yeah. All right, first thing we already get started on, this is the gratuitous welcome page. So welcome everyone, you're the heroes. And then we just wanted, this is the first and last advertising we're going to do, but we are the organizers and sponsors of this event. We carry the cost of this between Fresh, S5, and some NI contribution as well. That has been very helpful to be able to put this on. That's all we're going to say about that. And then the presenters, I want to give them credit. There's a lot of great people that stepped up. A lot of the CLAs that we have in this area, and we have a lot. This area has a lot of CLAs compared to other areas. But many of them, if not most of them, are going to be presenting today, as well as CLPs. Nothing against the CLPs. But we have a lot of CLAs, which is really nice to see.
We're really thankful for people who volunteer their time to do presentations. I know it takes a lot of effort.
It is a lot of effort, yes.
You're
And they're very technical presentations.
Yes, thank you. So thank your presenters at some point during the day. You're going about. All right, so kind of why we're here today. We're going to cover a few points. We want to talk about LabVIEW is still cool after 30 years. We'll talk a little bit about the general LabVIEW landscape, what we're doing to build a LabVIEW community, and how we're here to really raise the level of LabVIEW expertise. This event actually was, we started doing this through National Instruments many years ago. It was Steve Summers, if you remember him, and myself wanted to have an event where we could kind of raise the level of expertise of LabVIEW in the area, so we could get together and all learn something new from the experts, people who figured something out. And then we did that for almost 10 years, and actually NI replicated across all of the Royal NI office. They did the same event. And then about 4 years ago, they decided to de-invest in doing that. So we haven't had one in a while, as you probably know. But Craig and I got to talking and really thought it was a valuable thing to do, and decided we would take our own money and time and put it together and bring everybody together for that same purpose. Go to the next slide. So I think it's amazing to me that LabVIEW has been around for so long and still being widely used, still grows every year. The number of LabVIEW licenses that NI sells grows every year. And it still does some really cool stuff. You want to click on that link. So one of the projects that I've gotten to work on at Fresh is an autonomous vehicle project where we've taken LabVIEW and the Compact Rio platform, which Compact Rio, as you probably know, has a real-time OS on it and a FPGA, both of which you can program with LabVIEW. So we took that and hacked into a bunch of vehicles and made these off-the-shelf vehicles autonomous. They drive around, do a bunch of work, there's no driver in them. And using LabVIEW and Compact Rio, we're able to apply this to different vehicles really quickly. So we have a Bobcat now that drives autonomously, we have a forklift, we have this little scissor lift. We have about 500 vehicles that we've made into autonomous vehicles. Take all the radar, LiDAR, GPS, all this sensor fusion stuff, it all goes into Compact Rio, and these things are actually doing real work. So you'll see in a minute, there's a Bobcat that we have that's actually hauling solar panels around where we're building a solar farm. So this is actually the proof of concept doing real work. We built a solar farm in Florida, and it brings the solar panels to the installer, and then when it's empty, it hits a button, the thing drives back to the warehouse, and it gets loaded with new solar panels and drives back to where it left off. So it's pretty amazing we could do that. We went from, our customer brought this idea to us, and we went from like the idea to the first prototype working in less than 6 months. I actually have a robot out there next to the registration desk if you want to check it out and kind of see the sensors that are on it. it's interesting, we're not driving cars around, right? So the problem is not as difficult. We can go a lot slower. But to be able to do something, build something that fast, I think you can only do with LabVIEW. I think we can go to the next video. Now this video I didn't want to edit, so if you want to jump to like the 30-second mark, this is up on YouTube. One of my favorite companies here in Seattle is Blue Origin. I think they're doing some really amazing, super cool stuff. They presented at NI Week a couple of years ago, I think it was the year before last. If you know Blue Origin, they're down in Kent. It's Jeff Bezos' company, space tourism. They're building amazing rockets, and they use LabVIEW for a lot of their testing, a lot of control stuff. I don't know all the details, but I know they have a cool LabVIEW team. Some of them are here today. This is what they presented at NI Week last year. Was a cool video of their rocket. Can't really hear the audio, that's fine. But so we're using LabVIEW to test rockets, which I think is pretty amazing. What they're doing at Blue Origin is really fun and amazing to me. They can take off, land, launch, land, repeat is their little slogan. So I just want to share that as another cool application of LabVIEW. And it is remarkable that LabVIEW's been around for over 30 years and still continues to grow, and that always amazes me. It's still cool in my mind. So a couple of comments I want to make about just the general LabVIEW landscape. At Fresh we've been hiring a lot, building a team of LabVIEW developers, and it's been really, really hard to find good LabVIEW talent. LabVIEW is definitely a differentiator in the marketplace. I read an article the other day that said that the engineering unemployment rate in the Seattle area is less than 1%. So I think that's remarkable. Seattle continues to grow. Big smart companies are coming here, and I think the need for LabVIEW developers is going to continue to grow. So it differentiates you to have that skill set as part of what you're able to do. The job market for LabVIEW developers is really hot. I hear this from before when I was still with NI. The NI guys talk about it today, that there's lots of people looking for LabVIEW developers. This is not a recruiting event necessarily, but I'm just mentioning that skill level is valuable to you as an engineer. Do you want to make comments about that?
Yeah, just that, that's one of the reasons why we wanted to have this event, to really foster that, to really keep up the level of LabVIEW programming, because we're competing not so much with other LabVIEW programmers as much as we are with other languages and other ways people are solving problems. And we need to be really strong as a community and pushing to meet the demands of the technology and the expectations that people have. So today is really highly technical kind of stuff to really scoop people in. Let's push to that higher level and really drive where we are and what we can do with LabVIEW.
And I want to emphasize that too, that Craig and I are good friends. We are competitors, but we wanted to come together on something that we thought was this important, right?
We live and die as a community. We all have our own individual things that we're doing too, but it's a small world. We need to learn how to play nice together. Yeah. And we can do a lot more, I think, if we work together to grow the community and have a good, strong, vibrant LabVIEW community. Because there are a lot of people out there that need LabVIEW solutions, and they'll stop looking for LabVIEW solutions if we're not ready to meet them, and other people are meeting them with other tools.
That's a good point. So some of our call to action today that we want you to leave thinking about, and think about as you're going through the different sessions today as well, is we want you to try to find ways to mentor other engineers. If you know LabVIEW, find somebody at your company who's a bright, up-and-coming engineer and help them learn LabVIEW. That's the number one way that people learn LabVIEW, is that somebody else taught it to them. It's, class is nice, user groups are nice, but they're not that core of just sitting down with someone and attacking an application and having somebody you can ask questions to. So our challenge to you is to find someone younger that you can mentor. Second challenge would be to find ways to help LabVIEW get into the universities, be able to teach it. University of Washington, at community colleges, I know Bellevue Community College had a LabVIEW class for a little while that died because their instructor moved away. So if you can find opportunities to teach in colleges and universities, that also helps grow the community. We also do have the Seattle LabVIEW user group meeting, the Slugs, appropriately named for Seattle. We meet once a quarter down at the Fresh Consulting office. If you want to be involved with that, we need people to present. You can do a 5-minute presentation, do a 30-minute presentation. We'll take anything to help continue to build up that community. And if you can come to that event as well, we'd love to have you there.
It's really interesting to hear from different people. So I know a lot of people think maybe they don't have anything to present, but we really do want to hear that. And it's really interesting to get a variety of people and hear what people are doing. So I know sometimes people have sensitive things that they can't say, but run things by your company, make sure everything's good. But it's very helpful to have that involvement from the community.
Also, if you've ever been to NI Week, it's a fantastic event. I would encourage you to make the trip down to Austin. There's a lot you can learn, there's a lot you can understand, or there's a lot of value, I think, in plugging into that NI LabVIEW community by being down to NI Week. So we're going to go down this year. I don't think I've missed one in 17 years, partly because I worked for the company for so long. But I've always enjoyed it. NI does a really good job of putting on NI Week. They don't hold anything back. It's a great event. Lots of technical sessions. We could also use help doing this event. We're going to see how this goes today. Just judging based on how many people signed up, I think you guys think it's valuable so far. Love to hear your comments throughout the day, and I did include a survey form in the packet, so you can fill that out at some point, turn it back in, help us make this better. Let us know if you liked it. If it's valuable enough, we'll do it again next year, and we'd love to have help.
So, and at the end of the day, we're going to give away a couple of free things. So if you fill out your form, that's your entry. So make sure you fill that out.
I also challenge you to get certified. I think the more certified CLA, CLDs that we have in the area, the better. So there is certification tests that happen every quarter.
Yeah, so we just had one at S5 a little bit ago. The next one, so May 14th at Fresh, and then August at S5, and November again at Fresh. So 3 opportunities yet this year. And today, if you go to the prep session, we've got a prep session set up for CLD and CLA. We're going to have people on a phone call from NI that are actually part of the certification department to help you understand what they're looking for and what their expectations are to help you take the test and be successful with that. So if you go to that session, you can get signed up still. The May 14th one's coming up really fast, but while it's fresh in your mind, you could just jump on that or get one of the other ones before the end of the year.
And if you notice in your packet, or if you grab off the table, and I did give us 50% off vouchers for any of the certification tests as part of coming to this event.
Right.
I thought that was generous. So.
And then there's this link. If you go to the website that we used to invite you, and then go to Get Involved, it links to the registration so you can get signed up. Which I put that on there because we all know how awesome the NI website is for finding stuff. It took me like 10 minutes yesterday to find the class that I'm hosting at my own company. So go to that link and find it. Another way that we can do things is by sharing code with the community. And we're going to talk about that at like some of the user groups and things like that. We've had conversations about that. But there are some tools in place that make that easier to do, that we're trying to get started, some code sharing tools. And so that's, again, one of those things where sometimes you can and sometimes you can't share code that's inside of a company. But S5 is doing a lot of that. We've got open source stuff, which some of the presentations you'll hear about today include some of that. So that's another good way to just help build the community.
Oh, I already.
So we kind of touched on a lot of this stuff, but the whole purpose, one of the main purposes today is to raise the bar on where we are as LabVIEW programmers and as a community of LabVIEW programmers. So the topics that we've got, there's a few topics. There's user interface and revision control are the first topics, and I'm kind of doing a little bit of a summary here, but we're quickly moving into kind of what the events are, what the sessions are today. So user interface, user experience is one of those things that is increasingly important in a world where people have high expectations with web interfaces on everything, and there's all kinds of expectations. And meanwhile, there's LabVIEW programmers that are usually engineers that write the world's worst user interfaces. So go to one of those sessions and see, if there's some tips that can help you get better at that. We can do a lot better job there. The other one, the first session, just go to the schedule here to show. And the schedule is in your folder as well. So there's a Git session. Taylor's going to be talking about revision control. How many people use revision control? Okay. So anyone that didn't raise your hand, you have a responsibility more to see Taylor's presentation. That is just one of those things that we just should all be doing. It doesn't matter if you're just a one-person team. It doesn't matter if you're a large team. Revision control tools many of them are free, they're easily accessible, and they're a very important part of writing quality code. The next thing you'll see is on the left, which is this room, there's a series of object-oriented programming courses. So starting with Tony and then Dave and Chris are all doing presentations. They kind of build on each other, talking about object-oriented techniques. How many people have used object-oriented in LabVIEW? Okay, some. It's one of those things that I think a lot of people, especially if you're coming from the engineering world instead of the software development world, you haven't necessarily had exposure to. But we wanted to start at the start of that with Tony's presentation on getting started with OOP and help draw you into that, because there are a lot of really valuable things that you can do, and OOP can help you structure your program in a way that makes it expandable and reusable and just better quality code. So don't be afraid of it. At least go to that first one and get your feet wet with it a little bit and find out how easy it might be to do some of those things. On the other side of the schedule, we've got the prep sessions for the tests, and then the last two presentations on the right and the last one on the left are more like technologies coming together of how some of the stuff that we've talked about earlier on builds and comes into a complete application. So Laird is doing a presentation on the Aloha architecture, which is OO-based internally, and then John and Warren are doing some other variations. John's presentation is also on object-oriented programming and advanced use of that. And then Warren is going to be talking about how some of that stuff applies to test standards. So, and I know I missed one in there too. There's platforms and architectures earlier on. That's in the other track.
Can you talk about the 7x7 real quick, just to give them
Yes. Well, and also, yeah, the lunch too. Let's just, so lunch we're on our own. We sponsored this event, but there are limits. So, but there are a lot of really good places to go right around here, within walking distance even. There are maps that we have some out on the table, and there are some up by the entrance door. It's also on the link. If you go to the website, you can see the map on there. But you're on your own for lunch, so find someone that you don't mind eating with and go find a place to eat. When we get back, we left an hour and a half for lunch, so there should be a good enough time. But also to help bring you back, we have a really fun presentation when we come back. And it's 7x7, which is something we borrowed from the CLA Summit that we always do there. And it's 7 different presentations that are 7 minutes long, just kind of a quick fire format. And people are going to get up and talk about all manner of things. Some serious, some silly, and it's just a lot of fun. So make sure you get back from lunch for that. And that's pretty much the schedule.
Just a little more details. So there's this room, and then right across the hall is the other room that we have. It's a little bit smaller. There's 50 chairs in there, so we should be able to split okay, but it's this room and that room. And then there is some refreshments. They might be gone by now, but we refreshed after lunch, and then the registration tables.
Yep. Yeah, and you're free to move back and forth between each room. There's basically, each session is about 50 minutes out of the hour, so we leave a 10-minute changeover. If you are in a room and you start talking with the presenter or amongst yourselves or whatever, it would be great if you could take that out into the hallway. So letting the new people come in and set up and just, clear the way. We want to keep things moving because there's a lot of technical presentations and people will put a lot of time into making a presentation. And one of the hardest things to do with doing these kind of presentations is making sure that it's short enough. It's one of those things that it's, you get talking about a technical topic and go on for a very long time. And that's great, but just take those conversations out into the hallway or whatever afterwards. So keep things moving. Speaking of which, we've got 2 minutes left ourselves, so we've got to keep things moving. This one's just the summary of.
Yeah, just same call to action I mentioned earlier. Find someone to mentor, help get LabVIEW to schools, universities, get involved in the Slugs community. Think about going to NI Week, help with this event, work on getting certified and sharing code with the community. I know it's a lot to ask, but if you just pick a couple of those things, we'd be happy.
And help with this event specifically means, Jared and I took on this to kind of kickstart this, but we would be open to people really stepping up, both for sponsoring this event and also for helping to coordinate. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun also. Yeah. So let us know if you're interested. John.
Can you tell them how to get involved in Slugs, how to be aware of when the meetings are?
Yeah, so if you go to NI.com/Seattle, it'll take you to a page where all the meetings are listed. You have to join, you have to subscribe to that page, right, John?
Just follow it so you get emails from the posts.
Yeah, so you follow that page, and then every time someone posts on there, you get an email. And usually we only post on there when advertising when the next date is and what the subject the presentation is going to be about. So go there and subscribe, and then you'll get the updates. Any other questions or comments before we break? Thanks, John. All right.
All right, so welcome. Take a look at the schedule, see what looks most interesting to you, and we're going to start the first session in 5 minutes, I think, right? Starts right at 9:30.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.